One slight worry is, even at maximum, this machine is quiet. Oh, that's not quiet, that's a target. Today's challenge is, can we start metal detecting for under £100? I've had quite a few emails from people saying, yeah, but I only want to start detecting. It's just a family detector, or it's just a detector from a child. We don't want to spend big money. So I thought, that's a fair comment, you know. So what if I went out and spent under £100 on a metal detector? Could it give me any enjoyment? I looked at all the different available metal detectors on Amazon around that price range, and I come up with this Kaiweets Explorer X3. Now, the reason I chose it, not just because it fell within the price range, but the depth claims were 11 inches, something like that, whereas some of the depth claims on Amazon are like 2.5 meters. So I thought, well, we're getting off on the right foot here. It's an honest statement. So I went ahead and bought the machine, and it's finally arrived. So let's have a look and see what's in the box. First of all, we have a backpack. Now, if this machine fits into this backpack without disassembling it, that's going to be quite impressive. Instruction manual, we can talk about that later. A control box cover, the control stem, collapsible, headphones. It looks like there's a 3.5mm jack in there. .5mm jack and volume control. Now what's this? Oh, it's a little digging tool, a little spade for the handle. Good. And a little pouch to put it in. Arm cup. Search coil. Now these are one of the most important things on a metal detector, getting that search coil right. And this one feels a little bit too light, but we'll see. We'll have a talk about the search coils in a very short while. And this is our controller. It's got a nice feel to it. Rechargeable batteries. So I don't know how long they're going to last for. And finally we have our recharge cable. So that looks like it's a USB-C, so it's all up to date. Excellent. That's what's in the box. Manual, control box cover, arm cup, controller, stem, headphones, coil, foldable digger, pouch, manual, and let's not forget this carry bag. Well, here we are. It took about 10 minutes to assemble. It was really easy. You've just got these little snap clips to adjust the stem, snap clips to put the arm cup on. The controller just slides onto the top stem there, and you connect the coil wire, and that's it. One thing I've done is I've put a little bit of tape around the lower stem connecting the coil wire, because when the coil goes flat, we're not stretching this little pigtail, and this part isn't removable. So that's the machine all together. It does feel quite light, it does feel quite solid. My only real concern is this coil feels quite light. Is there any resin in it? Is there any shielding in it? Will it work on wet sand? Will it work on wet grass? I don't know. But Kaiweets say it works on the wet sand and in the surf. So is this machine a multi-frequency? Let's have a look. Here we go then. Kilohertz. 5.92 kilohertz running frequency. Clearly not a multi-frequency, it's a single frequency, and running around 5 kilohertz, it's going to have a bias towards the bigger coins, the bigger targets, and it's not going to be so sensitive on the smaller stuff like the little coins and little jewelry. So I think this is set up for its, well, exact price range, exact market really, just going out, having fun with a metal detector and finding the bigger targets. So the only way we're going to find out really is get out there and have a go with it. But first, let's have a look at these menus and functions. Sensitivity on the left, depth meter on the right, battery level, discrimination and notch range, and your factory programs. Now this looks all a little bit familiar to me. So let's first address the sensitivity. Press and hold it until it flashes and use the plus and minus buttons to adjust the sensitivity. Press the sensitivity button again to come out of that feature. So here we have volume, long press, and that's your backlight. Long press out, backlight off. Well, that sounds quite simple for a start. We've got all metal, notch, jewellery and memory. Now I don't really understand this side of things, as you'll see now as I scroll through the menu. Let's start at the beginning. We have the field mode. That's called all metal. But as you can see, it's got everything opened up. So you've got iron, foil, wedding ring, big coin. So everything works there, although the iron is accepted as a good target. Let's move on one more, and this is the field mode. It's called notch, no idea why, but you can see there that iron is now rejected, and from 40 upwards, target ID 40 upwards, you will accept the target. So let's try the iron. Nothing there at all. Foil, low tone, wedding ring, big coin. So that's quite self-explanatory. That's probably the mode I will be using out into the field. Right, and again, we have the beach mode. So again, iron, rejected, as you can see down here. Foil, ring, coin. And the next one is on a more expensive machine. We call that the Goldfield or prospecting program. So again, that seems pretty much the same as the other ones. I don't think there'd be any difference. In theory, that should be running a higher frequency, but I'll need to check that. And that's it. You've got a pinpoint button just here. And that is it. That's the functions and features on this Kaiweets Explorer X3. Although it looks quite a complicated machine, it's really simple. It doesn't take too much working out. The only thing what will confuse you is all metal, notch, jewellery, memory. No idea about that. Although the manual has got the relative information, it's not very comprehensive. Okay, let's get out in that field. So here we are out in the field. Let's give it a try. So we're on the jewellery mode. I think we need to go to the park mode where we've rejected the iron. That's it. All we've got to do is mess around with the sensitivity, get it right for this field, and we should be good to go. But I wanted to try this on a little bit of wetter ground, but we've had a bit of rain, so it's quite damp. I wanted to see what the shielding's like on this search coil, but this machine is very stable, even with the sensitivity on maximum. So there's nothing else I can do really to get the most out of this machine. That's volume on maximum. Oh, that's iron. Remember, iron comes 20 and below. This is very stable. Very often these cheap machines make a sound when you touch the ground with the coil. One slight worry is, even at maximum, this machine is quiet. Oh, that's not quiet. That's a target. try the pinpoint button. Okay, I'll try my normal method of pinpointing. Just wiggle it, draw the coil back. When it disappears, it's under the front of the coil. Now this is something you will want to invest in if you're new to the hobby, a pinpointer. Now don't go too cheap on pinpointers. This is the Minelab one, and it's certainly worth paying a little bit extra to get a decent pinpointer. It's a big piece of lead, so that was quite a big target, but then again it sounded off pretty good on it, didn't it? And again, if you're new to the hobby, you need to make sure these holes are filled in so they're virtually undetectable. Perfect, let's carry on. That's iron because it's coming up below 20 target ID, which is this section here. Listen to this, we're walking over a patch where there's a little bit more iron and the machine is telling us exactly what's under our feet. Iron, iron, iron. So these are the low tones. We're just listening out for a higher tone, which would indicate it's a target above the iron range. Because as a rule, if you're a beginner, we ignore these iron tones. We don't want to dig the iron. Not unless, of course, you're relic hunting, where some relics are iron and they're quite desirable. I'm keeping the sweeps nice and even, as close to the ground as possible. And that's iron. And this is one of the keys to successful metal detecting. A lot of people sweep the coil like this, and you're not going to find anything like that. You really need to be precise and consistent. You can hear the iron there, just buzzing away in the background. Here's an iron tone coming up at 16, and can you see that bottom segment there is flashing? Now if I press this minus button, it'll flash for a bit and then it'll just totally eliminate that out. So now we've made the iron silent, so we won't hear the iron. We hear everything above the iron, for example the good targets. So personally, I like to hear the iron as a low tone, but you've still got to look at those numbers, because everything above 20, 22, 23, 24 may still give a low tone. So let's try it silent for a little bit and see if we can pick out some decent targets. There's one, 66. And I can see it. That's quite respectable. That's about 7-8 inches down, and that's a shotgun cartridge. So yeah, quite impressive that. If we walked over a coin at those depths, I'm sure we'd found it. I think the lower frequency combined with that lower sensitivity level, even at maximum, it's going to have a bias towards the bigger targets, and it's going to be less sensitive to the small targets like small coins or jewellery. So just bear that in mind when you're thinking about buying a low frequency metal detector. 70, 71. Sounds pretty good. This is quite a deep target, you know. Right at the bottom of the hole. Do you know what? I'm really surprised about the build quality of this machine. I wasn't expecting to be that great, but being in the field, the weight, the balance, everything is just like using a more expensive machine. So I think they've got the build quality right on this machine. The circuitry could do with a little bit of tweaking, higher frequency maybe, something like 15 kilohertz. That'd be absolutely perfect for those smaller targets. But The machine does feel underpowered because I've got that sensitivity at maximum and it's still pretty quiet. It'd be nice to have a couple more sensitivity bars on the menu just to poke that power up a little bit more. And I can see what it is. Quite deep, but it's a large piece of aluminium, probably a can or something like that. So to answer the original question, can you start metal detecting for under £100? And I think the answer is yes, you can. It's the old saying, isn't it? You get what you pay for. Now, if you just want a day in the garden or a day at the beach or spend some time with the family metal detecting, well, then this is going to be the ideal machine. But if you get bitten by the bug, what most of us do, you'll soon want to progress and you'll outgrow this machine very, very quickly. As far as this little Kaiweets is concerned, I think it ticks the boxes if you're on a limited budget. 61.62. There you go. It's another shotgun cartridge. Yee! Happy days. Well, I got a Chinese metal detector about 7-8 years ago and it wasn't very good. In fact, I threw it away. But using this machine today, I think they've come a long way, you know. So what are your thoughts about this Kaiweets Explorer X3? £100, under £100. What do you think? Do you think it's worth starting off in a hobby with a cheap machine and then progressing? Or do you think it's best to spend big and spend once? It'd be interesting to hear what you've got to say about that one. It's a good introduction to the hobby, and don't forget it comes with all those goodies as well. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next Friday for another video. Bye for now.